Tell me about the Witte Museum and the Toronto connection to the Witte Museum.
Oh, great. Love to do that. We have great friends in Toronto and actually throughout Canada. Our Toronto friends are Barry and Gail Lord, and they own a company called Lord Cultural Resources, and actually they're a world-renowned museum firm, a design firm, and we went after them. We asked them to come down and look at our collection and work with us. And Barry Lord himself came down and has been the head designer of our fantastic what we call visible collections, so that you're able to access our collections throughout our entire museum complex and to see the artifacts. We have about 300,000 artifacts, but to encounter them means they need to be protected but also visible. So this is what this firm is so great at, and so we're very, very pleased to have them as our dear friends. In addition to that, really our dinosaurs and many of our cases are made in Quebec and throughout Canada and Vancouver.
Now, for the visitors, Maurice, that don't have the pleasure of actually being here to watch this, how would you describe the Witte Museum compared to others?
So the Witte Museum is a natural history and science museum, and it is very focused on Texas. We're very proud of that. It's a huge story if you think about it. San Antonio itself was the center of the frontier for over 200 years. As the American frontier is, of course, an extraordinarily romantic and also a cantankerous and rough place. And so, to have this kind of history as the center of our being, and this museum, by the way, is 90 years old. So we have a great collection from the cattle kings to the chili queens, from the vaqueros and cowboys, to our natural history specimens. So it's a very big story. And if you come to Texas, the Witte Museum really is the museum to come to.
So when we're talking about people coming to Texas, we got to talk about dinosaurs, because that's a big part of the Witte's future, right?
No question about it. And it turns out there are fabulous dinosaurs here in Texas. The Quetzalcoatlus is the largest pterosaur ever found here in Texas. The Acrocanthosaurus, a 40-foot theropod, a meat-eating dynamo of a dinosaur, walked along a shallow sea that was actually San Antonio. And of course we have, T-Rex, as you all in Canada have, as well as Mosasaur. This was millions of years ago a deep ocean, so we also had some great ocean creatures as well. So yes, it's an important story in Texas, and because Texas is mostly privately owned, a lot of people don't have access to this kind of information elsewhere.
Now, Maurice, we were fortunate enough to have a tour here to see all the renovations. How much went into renovations, and why? Whose decision was it to renovate like this?
Because the Witte is such an important museum for Texas and certainly for San Antonio. We were actually getting, as Texas grows and as San Antonio has grown, we've had more and more school children and more people coming in. Frankly, we were a little squished. And so about 10 years ago when we started thinking, well, if we're going to renovate, like all great cities in the world, shouldn't we renovate for the next 100 years? Not just renovate a little bit, but maybe renovate for the next 100 years. So that's, in fact, what we decided to do. It's a $100 million renovation and it's a once in 100 year transformation. Right. So and it's going to be done. So we've been opening buildings over the last 4 or 5 years, but this one that we're opening now is our new entrance, our new great hall with the dinosaurs and 3 wonderful very popular galleries.
So, this place, even on the tour we've been on this morning, it's got your fingerprints all over it. Not literally, of course, because that would mess up the archaeologists. But I don't want to ask you to pick among your favorite kids, but do you have a favorite kid?
I do. My personal background is the prehistory of the Lower Pecos, and I've studied it for many years, 30 years, and so that, no question about it, for me personally, this exhibition is very important. I think it's important for the world, to tell you the truth. I think we forget about people who lived on the land for most of human history, or prehistory rather. So to have the kind of evidence of this that we have in this museum is quite extraordinary. In fact, it's really why I came here in the first place. It's very rare. So, but they're all great and fabulous galleries, especially for our children, our families, and for adults too. No question. All adults. All adults like to see dinosaurs, even though we don't always admit it. So,
well, that being said, what would you like people to take away from here, the visitors from Canada or anywhere around the world? What do you want them to take away from a nice visit here?
Well, first of all, San Antonio is a great city to visit in so many ways. I mean, we have the San Antonio Missions, which are the now World Heritage Sites, and the Riverwalk itself is filled with just astonishing culinary experiences. So I'm just so proud of San Antonio in general. But at the Witte Museum, we really capture the natural history, and science narratives of millions of years, thousands of years, and hundreds of years. So you can get a very good understanding of what it is to be in Texas if you come to the Witte Museum.